Both are used for what? Designing what? Business documents. Okay. Similarly, Adobe Forms is also used for designing the template of what? Business documents. Understood? Adobe Forms is also used for designing the template of business documents. The tool used is Form Builder. Okay, what is the tool we use? Form Builder tool we use. Okay, done. Okay, so if you want to use this Adobe Forms, okay, so the software requirements for this Adobe Forms is we need to have Adobe Lifecycle Designer. Okay, we need to install this is apart from what? SAP software. Apart from SAP software, we need to install Adobe Lifecycle Designer and we need to install Adobe Adobe Document Services. Okay, they are the two softwares that we need to install apart from what? SAP software. That's right, Adobe Lifecycle Designer and Adobe Document Services. Right? So just to brush up our knowledge. So what is the different tools we use for designing the business documents? We have what? SAP scripts. Okay. So in SAP scripts, what is the tool we use? Form Painter tool. What is the T code we use? SC71. Okay. This SAP script supports only what? Static forms. We can only display the data. Okay. Interaction not possible. Understood? Interaction is not possible in what? Runtime. Supports only what? Static form. Interaction not possible in what? Runtime. Am I clear? So what is the procedure we follow for this? First we are going to design what? SAP scripts in what? SE what? 71. Then what you will do? You will develop what? Driver, or we call it as what? Print program. That is nothing but what? Executable program. So in this executable program, what are the function models we use? Open form, write form, and what? Close form. Okay. Similarly, we have what? Smart forms. Okay. So in case of smart forms, what is the T code we use? Supports only what? Static forms. Here also interaction is not possible. Interaction not possible in what? Runtime. Interaction not possible in runtime. Done. Okay. What is the procedure we follow for this? Yes, we are going to design the layout in what? Smart form. Layout design, we'll do it in what? Smart form. You'll activate it. It generates what? Function will we can execute it. Okay. And if you want, we can also write what? A driver program, or we call it as what? A sprint program, which is nothing but what? An executable program. What you will do inside this? You will call the smart form function model, which will act as what? Driver for calling the smart form. Am I clear? So this is what we do it in what? Scripts and what? Smart forms. Okay. Now we have what? Adobe Forms. Okay, we have Adobe Forms. So if you take this Adobe Forms, it supports both what? Static and what? Interactive forms. Those who attended reports, I hope everyone has attended what? Reports. We also interactive reporting. Once the data is displayed, the user can double click on the data. Based on the interaction, we can generate some dependent data. Okay, so here interaction is possible in case of what? Adobe Forms. Am I clear? The procedure for this, the procedure for dealing with Adobe Forms is, first we need to create what? Adobe interface. We need to create the Adobe interface. Okay, so what is the T code we use? SFP T code we have to use. We have to use SFP T code. Then what you will do in the Adobe interface, we are going to declare what? We are going to declare the parameters. We are going to declare the parameters. We are going to declare what? Global variables. Okay, we are going to write what? Select statements for what? Data retrieval. Where do we do this in case of smart form? While designing the smart form only we will do it. Okay, we can do it in the smart form design level, or we can pass the data from what? Driver program. Okay, so the main thing is in case of smart form, we'll declare the parameters global variables in the smart form level only. But whereas here in case of Adobe Forms, first you have to create what? Adobe interface. Then in that we will declare parameters globally on those things. Then we have to create what? We have to create what? Adobe Form. What is the T code here we use? For Adobe Form also we use what? SFP T code. Okay, this Adobe Form is created based on what? Adobe interface. Make clear? So what you will do in the Adobe Form? We are going to map the parameters and what? Variable declarations. Then what else? Adobe system fields. Just like we have what? SAP script symbols. In SAP scripts also we have seen what? Four types of symbols: standard symbols, system symbols, program symbols, and what? Text symbols. Right? Question to Swarchla. What is the table for system symbol in SAP scripts? Sudhakar, what is the table for standard symbols in scripts? Rajesh, what do you mean by text symbols in scripts? Examples for text symbols. Examples for text symbols. Text symbols are also called as control commands. I gave some examples: top, end top, bottom, end bottom, perform, end perform. Last class we have seen how to call what? Subroutines from what? Scripts. Okay. Include is a tech control command. Bitmap is a control command. Okay. Done. So here we are going to create the Adobe form based on what? Adobe interface. What you will do in this? You will map the parameters and variable declarations. You will map the parameters and variable declarations. Yeah, we'll map the parameters and variable declarations. Then Adobe system fields from Adobe interface context to what? Adobe form context. Okay, done. Then we are going to what? Design the layout for what? We are going to design the layout for what? Adobe form based on the Adobe form context. Okay. Then we are going to what? Activate the Adobe form, just like what? Smart form. Here also it generates what? Function model, which can be executed directly. Am I clear? So if you want to work with Adobe Forms, first of all, we need to install what software? Adobe Lifecycle Designer and what? Adobe Document Services. Apart from our SAP, regular SAP software, we have to install these two additional softwares. And this is a procedure for designing the Adobe Forms. Okay. See again, uh, Adobe Forms is also, I can say, it's a separate kind of subject. Okay, we can discuss it for 1 month also. Okay, am I clear? I don't know complete Adobe Forms. Okay, and you also need not know the entire Adobe Forms. Is it clear? If you want to know each and everything in Adobe Forms, first of all we should know script, because we'll write the script code in what? Adobe Forms. So since you are from Abap background, whatever is related for the Abap, we'll discuss that, and I cannot say only that is sufficient. We have to do R&D from your end. Make clear, Adobe Forms is also a vast subject, but just to have the introduction on that, we have incorporated that in the syllabus. But again, it's a vast subject. We have to do lots of what? R&D on that. Okay, just we are going to spend some couple of hours to understand how it is different from what? Scripts and what? Smart form. Okay, right. So I'll try my maximum level to cover what? Most of the things which is required for the industry, but that is not sufficient. We have to do lots of R&D. नहीं 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 नहीं